Welcome to Front Row Racing World Championship Race Round 10 from the Hungary Ring. My name is Front Row Racing NW and I'll be your commentator for tonight's qualifying session and race session. We're looking to have a good session tonight. We're looking for Kev to try and get back into the title race with his teammate Dave after a technical disqualification last time out in Silverstone. I'm sure Kev will be eager to impress and maybe get one over on his teammate. As we await the cars coming out onto track for qualifying, just a few random facts. We're looking at a qualifying time on the options in the high 1 minute 20s, maybe low 1 minute 21s on the option tyre. But it depends if any cars will attempt to go on the primes in the qualifying session. Depends on their race strategy. And we have Mornay 77 out on track on an outlap on his option tyres. And he's going to be looking to get a good session in here. Maybe try and get midfield after qualifying to set himself up for a great race. And this is one of the shortest tracks on the F1 calendar, just over 2.7 miles long, and it's along with Monaco, Canada, Austria and Brazil as the shortest tracks on the calendar. In 1990, Thierry Buston won by the smallest margin by 2 tenths over Senna. I wonder if Kev, Dave or even Dom may be able to win by a small margin, but I'm hoping, and I'm sure they're hoping, it'll be a more dominant display. As we look at Mornay, about to go into the last corner, going to set himself up nicely, get his tyres warmed up right, ready for this fast lap, his time lap. He's going to hope he can get a good sector 1 time, set himself right up for the rest of the lap. As he has a little lock up going into turn 1. Just a little bit wide, a little bit of understeer. Oh, and he's hit the barrier. What a bad start for Mornay. He's lost a wing. Is he going to get started? He's just waiting for other cars to go past. That is a bad start to a qualifying session. Bad start to the Hungarian Grand Prix for him. If we can get back to the pit in time, get another set of boots on and try and rectify. We're back on board with another car, Bartman, going to the last corner on the option tyres as well, hoping not to make the same mistake as Mornay. And he crosses the line, started his lap. Now Bartman is an up and coming driver. He's had some good race results, but he's going to want to try and establish himself as one of the top drivers. And no instance here as Mornay did. He looks quite comfortable on this track. Let's hope he's had a bit of practice, got himself quite up for this, to get a good solid performance in. And he's coming up to the sector 1 timing of 28.319 as he goes out of turn 4, coming into turn 5, keeping it nice and tidy as he comes up to the chicane. He's got to make sure he doesn't take too much curb here or it will just put him off track. He handles it quite nicely. He's coming up to turn 8, turn 9, taking it very nicely, coming up to turn 10, keeping it nice and smooth. Looks like he's had a bit of practice here and he's doing quite well with sector 2 time 29.829. A little lock up. He's coming around a very frustrating corner. You have to be quite slow, not put the throttle on too early, and he seems to have managed that quite well as he goes into turn 14. Now he's trying and looking for a time of 120 or low 121s, and he does a 1 minute 21.806. A good time, maybe a bit more pace there. And we're on board with Dan Evs 85. He's on the options. Sector 1 time 28.964, sector 2 30.150, sector 3 was a 23 second. He's in second position at the moment, so this looks like his second of his timed laps. and he's attacking the track quite aggressively as he goes into the chicane. And he's coming up to turn 8 where he's want to try and not take too much curve, keeping it with the track limits. Turn 9's taken very nicely. A little bit off track there as he goes into turn 10, which leads into turn 11. He's keeping it nice and smooth, he's keeping it quite well controlled, and I'm sure Mornay's going to want to be taking notice of how the drivers should be using the throttle around at this track to keep it just well balanced and not having any accidents. As he comes into turn 14, last corner on this track, and he's currently going to probably get a 122 or a high 121, a 121.9, putting him into third at the moment. And we're on board with Dave DeHarp, currently in 5th on the option tyres on his time lap, a sector 1 time of 28.361, sorry. And we're coming up to the chicanes, turn 6, 7. Taking them chicanes very nicely. In practice he had some impressive pace behind him. He's got a car in front of him. The car could have done a better job of getting out of the way there, and I must have put Dave DeHarp off a little bit. And we're coming up to turn 11, coming up to turn 12 now, and if I was Dave DeHarp I'd be a little bit annoyed that car didn't get out of the way as quickly as it could have done. And here we go, the frustrating turn 13, a long corner where you have to just be a little bit cautious on the throttle, not too much. And coming out of turn 14 now, he's currently at 1 minute 20, he's going to be probably a 1 minute 23. Oh, I can stand corrected, a 1 minute 22.667, putting him 6th position at the moment. He's going to have probably another couple of shots at this time, because he can do a little bit better than that. On board with Racing GP Sahara Force India, he's on the prime tyres, which is an interesting choice. He's coming up to the chicane of turn 6 and 7, sector 1 time 28.777. And we know from Racing GP, aka Steve, is a very decent driver, keeps it well controlled, keeps in with the track limits, and is a good example for the drivers in the Fridays Cup to take notice of. And he's coming down to sector to corner 12, sorry, as he sector 2 time of 30.420 into turn 13, keeping it nice and controlled onto the throttle now. And it looked like he was going into the pits, so he maybe understood a little bit too much for him. Coming out of turn 14 now, and he's going to set a lap time of a 123.789, which is not too bad on the prime tyres, puts him 7th at the moment. On board with Sergeant Hitman, currently 8th on the option tyres, sector 1 time 35.235, sector 2 31.047. Coming out of turn 13, as he approaches turn 14, he's going to try and keep it nice and tidy, get a good exit out. He seems to have done that. DRS open, a lap time of 130.826, a very, very slow time, maybe a little bit of a warm-up lap, because that he should be going a lot faster than that, and he probably knows that. On board with Duo Finn on the prime tyres as well, another driver on the prime tyres. Looks like he's taking it nice and slow, maybe to save the tyre life on the option. No, he's coming in. Strange decision that. Maybe just getting a feel of the track. And we're on board with the Lotus with the reserve driver for Jamie James, Arizona 21. He's on the option tyres, currently 11th, and he's going to look to put in a nice impressive display to just get his name out there. He's in the World Championship, standing in for a good driver in Jamie James, and he's going to want to put a good show on, especially for Jamie James, to get some decent points for Lotus. As he comes out of turn 2, keeping it nice and tidy, going into turn 3, really tied it in nice, looks quite aggressive as well. And he comes into a tricky turn 4, which can catch a lot of drivers out, and he's gone quite wide on the exit of turn 5, leading up to the chicane of turn 6 and 7. He's got a sector 1 time 28.499, which is quite a good time, but I'm sure there's more time to find if he can push just a little bit harder. Out of turn 9, coming up to turn 10, leading into turn 11. Now it's all about just keeping as much speed as you can for this little mini straight. He sets the sector 2 time of 31.401, and he's coming up to the frustrating for many drivers turn 13. Keeping it nice and tidy. No understeer, no oversteer. Oh, a little bit kick of oversteer then. Coming into turn 14. He's looking quite good here, keeping it in lines. DRS going to be open. Sets the lap time of 124.101, putting him 10th. He's going to want to try and find a little bit more speed. And Duo Finn is back out on the prime tyres on an out lap. Maybe another feeler lap. Maybe he's going to set a time on this lap. We'll come back to that one. On board with Kev187, second in the table at the moment. He's on the option, sector 1 time 28.5, sector 2 29.3, lap time at 21.109, currently first now, and that might be good enough to get pole position, but I'm sure his teammate from Racing DP will have a lot to say about that. On board with Stocky in a Mercedes AMG, he set sector 1 time 28.588, sector 2 29.947, he's currently third on the option tyres as he comes into the last corner. Keeps it nice and tidy. DRS is going to be open. Sets a lap time of 122.161. He's third. I'm sure he can go a little bit faster than that. On board with Over the Kink, sector 1 28.2, sector 2 29.6. A lap time of 124.189. I'm sure he's going to want a little bit more out of his car than that, because usually he's within the top 3 in qualifying, and I'm sure he's going to try and get that record to carry on, because frankly Dommy's a good driver with a bit of speed about him. At the Williams duo and put him between them. Back on board with Dan Evans, sector 1 time 28.519, 29.3, sector 2, sector 3 23.7. Fifth at the moment. He's on the option tyres, looks like he's going for a second time lap. As he comes out turn 3, he's going up to the sector 1 timing point, and his sector 1 time is 28.767. He's gone a touch wide out of the corner. He's going into turn 5, keeping it nice and tidy. Here comes the tricky chicane, turn 6 and 7. Takes a bit too much curb on this second part of the chicane, but it's still keeping it within track limits, which is good to see. And looks like he's slowed down a little bit. I'm not too sure about that. Maybe he's had to correct himself as he comes out of turn 11. He's set sector 2 time 31.816. It's not too bad. He's currently 5th at the moment. I'm sure he's going to want to aim a little bit higher. Comes into turn 13, keeping it very nice and tight to the corner. And it looks like he's pitting, so he may be happy with 5th at the moment. Maybe another run will be coming from Dan Evans. Back on board with Front Row Racing GP, currently 11th. Now he's set a time on the primes, now he's on the options. He set a sector 1 time 29.008, sector 2 time 29.481. As he goes into the last corner, it's going to be a massive improvement from 11th, guaranteed. He sets the lap time of 122.282, putting him 7th. A good lap time from Front Row Racing GP. Back on board with Dave De Harp in the Scuderia Ferrari, currently 8th on the option tyres at the moment. Sector 1 time 28.443, sector 2 30.145, sector 3 24.309 on his previous fast lap. He's going to want to improve on that majorly. On sector 1 time on this lap at 28.627, which is quite a good time. And it's good to see David Harp, who's trying to push as he comes up to turn 6-7, the nice chicane. He takes a nice bit of curb there, not too much to unsettle the car, which is great to see. As he comes into turn 9, he's looking quite steady, keeping the car nice and tidy on the track. As we're coming down the little straight, he's coming up to turn 12. And he's taken it too wide. He's gone off the track there. but it won't put him off at the moment. He's going to still crack on with the time. Out of turn 13, coming up to turn 14. Sector 2 time of 30.975. Could be a little bit quicker there, Dave. But he's coming to cross the line with a 1 minute 24.246. Still 8th though. Sergeant Hitman is on his outlap. He's going to cross the line to start his time lap. He's currently 9th. He's on the options. As he comes down to turn 1, trying to keep it nice and tidy. Very well controlled there from Sergeant Hitman. As I say that, he goes wide. Commentator's curse again. As he comes into the approach of corner 2, trying to keep it nice and tidy. Well controlled there by Sergeant Hitman, better than turn 1. And we're going down, I'd say, a nice part of the section of the track leading up to turn 4, which can be a bit tricky and catch drivers out like it has Sergeant Hitman. He set a sector 1 time 28.744, but in my opinion this time will be invalid as he has ETL quite badly. He goes through the chicane quite well. We're going to go try and find another driver as this lap time will not be counted. On board with Front Row Racing DP now. He's leading the championship at the moment, and he's leading with a points total of 176 over his teammate of 161. Kev 187 will be looking to try and get them points back in this race at the Hungary Ring. Front Row Racing DP on the option tyres sets the sector 1 time 28.111, keeping it nice and controlled here as he's trying to get a little bit further up the grid. I'm expecting Dave to possibly be on pole or second. Goes into turn 6 and 7. Oh, he's a little bit of oversteer at the exit of that, but he kept it well controlled. And we're coming down the little straight, coming up to turn 12. Car gets out of the way, which is what we want to see. Nice driver etiquette there. And he's coming down to turn 13. He's going to have to keep it nice under control, not too early on the throttle. It keeps it perfectly controlled. Comes into turn 14. Still keeping it lovely and controlled. A sector 2 time at 29.379. And he's about to cross the line with a lap time of 120.982, putting him second. A very good lap there from Front Row Race Deep. On board with Over the Kink, aka Dom, currently third, being pushed down to third by Front Row Racing DP's previous lap. He's on the option tyres, trying to get a bit of heat into the tyres, make sure that the correct operating level before he starts his time lap. It's just coming down to turn 12, just keeping it nice and controlled. Just make sure the tyres, no life's taken out that is unnecessary. A little bit of a lock up actually coming into turn 13. He's going to want to make sure he doesn't do that on his time lap. As he approaches the last corner, he's coming out. He's wanting to keep it nice and tidy. DRS wide open. He starts his time lap. Now I know personally that Dom does want to break up the little dominance that Williams have been having recently. He takes turn 1 nice and tidy at the moment. Kept it brilliantly controlled there. Just go back on board with Over the Kink. Okay, back on board with Dom, and as we say that, Kev's just set a brilliant lap time of 120.609, which is going to put him in first place. That's going to be a hard lap time for Dom to beat. It looks like he's keeping it nice and controlled. He knows the pressure's on him now as he comes up to turn 6 7, the chicane. Takes it very nicely, keeps it well controlled, and not taking too much curb. Kick of dirt there as rear tyre went on the outside of the track limits, but kept most of the tyres in, so we'll let that one slide. And he's going to want to attack the last sector in a bit, make sure he can try and split these Williams pair, because it's the only hope he's got of getting a good result today. Coming up to turn 13, keeping it nice and tidy, which is probably what he's going to want. He's coming up to turn 14. And let's see if he can split the Williams pair of Kev and Dave. He's about to cross the line, and he is third. He took it, looks like he kind of gave up at the end. Arizona 21 is crossing the line, currently 11th, and stays 11th. Good session there, nice for it to be dry. I know many drivers didn't want it to be wet because it would have been probably a little bit crazy, probably wouldn't have got good lap times, but it's surprising to see Mornay have a little incident at the start of his time lap. Maybe just a bit too happy on the throttle, a bit too early, but I'm sure he's going to learn from that because he doesn't want to do that in the race. Okay, at the end of the qualifying session for the Hungarian Grand Prix, we have in first Kev 187 with a lap time at 1:20.609, a brilliant lap time, followed by his teammate front row racing DP. Over the Kinkies in third, fourth Dan Evs, fifth Stocky, sixth Bartman, seventh David Harp, eighth in front row racing GP, ninth Sergeant Hitman 91. Mornay is in 10th, 11th Zarazar, standing in for Jamie James, 12th is Duo Finn. Now hopefully the start of the race will be a nice controlled race by the World Championship drivers. This is the top division and this is where people will be taking notice. They've got to set an example of decent driving, playing it fair, and hopefully no incidents. Let's see what the weather's doing for the race. Oh, it's overcast, and now I'm not a gambling man, well maybe I am, but I'm going to say there's going to be some rain, maybe halfway through the race. And if it does, I know the drivers are not looking forward to it, if it does rain, then it's going to be drama all the way, and maybe this is the time where the Williams dominance will foul if the track gets wet. And as you saw there, Kev has an advantage of nearly 4 attempts in qualifying over his teammate Dave. Now if he can keep that advantage going into the race, lap by lap, it's going to eke out a good amount of time over Dave. But high tyre wear track, it could be a 3-stop race, could be more, it depends on the weather. But qualifying pace goes out the window when the track is going to become, well let's just say, it's going to be slippery if it's going to be wet, and it's going to be uncontrollable for some drivers, especially if they're a little bit throttle happy. The weather don't look too bad from where this car's sitting on the grid, as we have 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 laps. And we're on board with Dave the Harp as all the court. There's a lock up by Stocky. Looks like the cars have all took the cars going off a little bit, but have kept it nice and tidy, which is brilliant to see. As we have front row racing GP in the Sahara falls into, oh, as the car's gone off. We'll just check. Can't see the track the car that went off, but I'm sure we'll see it from driver's footage. As we see, Kev 187 is in first place at the moment. Stocky from 5th on the grid, and that is brilliant. A brilliant start from Stocky. He is a driver with some serious pace and some serious talent, and he's shown the World Championship guys that he deserves to be here. The cars look like they're all bunched up together, and this will probably peter out over as the laps carry on, but looks like a McLaren Honda is trying to make a move. Looks like Dan Evs is the car that went off. He's not going to be happy about that. He's going to have a little bit of anger about an instance so early in the race. And we're on board with Mornay 77. He's chasing down the Ferrari of Dave the Harp. He's going to hope he can try and get a bit of a slipstream from David Harp and try and get into turn 1 in front of David Harp. This is going to be a really close. There's side by side. It looks like Mornay's had a little bit of a lock up. David Harp didn't really defend that much. He's probably trying to save his tyres, but David Harp comes back at Mornay 77. He's trying to position himself, but I think the chance has gone now. Maybe until DRS comes back. Go check up on the front. We've got front racing DPs in 4th. I don't know how bad of a start Front Row DP's had, but from second to fourth is quite shocking in the space of 2 laps. Well, what, a lap and a half. He's behind Bartman now. So at the moment we have Kev 187 in first place, Stocky second, Bartman third, Front Row Racing DP fourth. I'm sure this is not how he's going to want the event to go, because the simple fact is he's got a lead over Kev 187 in the of a lead to let places slip. Go check up on the rest of the field. Over the kink, that is a shocker. He's 11th place now. He must have had an incident. He's going to be quite angry with whatever's happened, because I don't think this is the first time this season that he's had issues where it's put him down the field this bad. Going on board with Sergeant Hitman as he goes way off the track. He's getting chased down by Over the Kink. And the Sergeant Hitman is 11 seconds away from the leader, but he's not really got the pace, it seems, at the moment. But maybe that will increase as he's coming under pressure from Dom. Probably in about 5 corners going to come under pressure. On board with Dan Evs, currently in 9th. Duo Finn is in 8th with Danevs in a Mercedes, looking like he's catching time as Duo Finn goes way wide off the track as Danevs is now trying to get past him. Looks like it's going to be an interesting little battle as they come up to the chicane of turns 6 and 7. As long as they can follow it through, no corner cutting, they should be okay, keeping it clean. Looks like Danevs is lining up a pass. He's got past Duo Finn. Nice move by Danevs. Back on board with Front Row Racing DP in the Williams. Now he's going to be right on the tail of Bartman as it comes out of turn 13. He's going to want to try and control the race. He's going to probably be a little bit annoyed that he's in 4th at the moment, but he's got to remember it's a long game. Can't burn your tyres up too quickly, especially if there's going to be rain, which I think we're going to have rain later on in the race. If there's going to be rain, he's going to have to probably make the move, try and keep it controlled, not burn the tyres out. Going on board with Stocky is about 1.7 seconds away from the leader. It looks like this could be a good day for Stocky if he can keep it controlled. It looks like he's dropping back actually from the Williams of Kev 187. And we're going to go back on board with Front Row Racing DP as he looks like he's lining up a move on Bartman. He's stuck right behind him. It's going to be frustrating Dave at the moment. Going into the chicane, I don't see a move getting made here. If a move gets made here, it's going to be carnage. Keep it sensible there, both Bartman and Front Row Racing DP. Front Row Racing DP's ever so close now. Is he going to wait? Take the frustrating turn 13, keep it close, going past the DRS detection point. Keep it nice and tidy coming out of turn 14, hit the DRS, and he should make the move on Bartman going into turn 1. It looks like Bartman is just about keeping in front of Front Row Racing DP. It looks like everyone's catching up. Stocky as well, so Stocky must have had a messy lap to allow the cars back up, because Stocky's not fighting with no one. Bartman and DP are fighting, and that should be costing them time. Unless Stocky's trying to keep his tyres. This Front Row Racing DP goes for a move on Bartman and he's spun. Front Row Racing DP is... It looked like he was going for a move and he's actually been spun. That will be probably referred to the race director / stewards after the race, and now that has put Front Row Racing DP down to 5th as Mornay now takes advantage. Front Row Racing DP is, let's be honest, having a shocking start to the race. Let's go back on board with Stocky now. He's got Bartman right on his tail. Stocky's going to have to keep it controlled. Just, you know, Stocky's a driver, come through from the Fridays Cup. He's put decent displays in the Fridays Cup, got himself promoted to a World Championship seat and not looked back. He's putting some decent performances in, and he's going to look like he's going to keep a nice solid performance now, but he's got to keep Bartman behind him, but he's also got to keep in touch with Kev 187, or he's just going to be fighting for second, and no driver wants second, every driver wants first place. Look at the gap Kev 187 has. Kev 187 is just going into the last corner as Bartman and Stocky come out of the turn 13. Bartman's going to have DRS on Stocky. Now Stocky's going to have to play smart here. He's going to have to choose his line early and make sure Bartman has the least opportunity going into turn 1. Bartman's got his DRS open, but Stocky looks like he's done enough. A little lock up by Bartman as Stocky goes into turn 1. Bartman's right on his tail. He's going to have DRS again as there's one activation point for the DRS to get both DRS activations. But Stocky, well driven, nice defensive bit of driving there from Stocky as Bartman's still behind him. Now Bartman's probably going to be behind Stocky for the remainder of the lap, at least till probably turn 13, turn 14, or even if Bartman gets DRS, turn 1. Let's go check on the rest of the field as we're with Harrison GP. Is in 12th position from a car that on lap 1 was challenging for 7th and 8th position. He's dropped back, which is a shocker, but there must have been either an early pit stop or an incident. On board with Sergeant Hitman in 11th at the moment as they're going through the turns 6 and 7 chicane, all keeping it nice and tidy. Let's go on board with Front Row Racing DP's in 4th now. It looks like he's going to start a recovery drive because he's going to probably be 3rd or 2nd, to be honest, today, unless something dramatic happens to Kev 187. He's going to have to keep this nice and tidy, keep it in control for the rest of the race. On board with 5th place Mornay, which is quite good for him at the moment. It's looking good. If he can keep some good pace up, it should be okay. He's in the McLaren Honda. As you can see, not an impressive car this season, but as we run equal conditions, it doesn't matter. As long as you're a good driver, which Mornay is he's a competitive driver, he can put in a good performance. Going on board with Stocky at the moment, currently 2nd. Bartman is still behind him. It looks like this could be Bartman's move will probably be made when Stocky pits. And Bartman's got to time this right. He's going to have to let Stocky pit first. As Stocky has a little bit of a messy exit coming out of turn 7, which is going to allow Bartman to close up on him a little bit more. Now Bartman's going to have to probably either go in for the undercut to get in front, or go that 1 lap longer than Stocky when Stocky pits. But make sure he's kept his tyres in control, not too much tyre wear, because if Bartman's tyres are ruined and he goes for a lap longer than Stocky, he's going to be dropping time. They're coming out at turn 13. Bartman is within DRS. Oh, it's Stocky pits. Stocky's pitting on the end of lap 7 as Bartman goes round. Now this is the lap, but Bartman has got to put in. He's got to put in a decent lap, make sure he can get past Stocky. On board with Kev 187, having a leisurely drive in 1st. I'm sure he's going to want more of a fight, but you know, a win's a win. If he takes it in dominant style like Lewis Hamilton has done so many times this season and last season, Kev will take that, definitely. He's always in control. He can keep it nice and tidy, and I'm sure Kev will be enjoying the space he's got at the moment. And Dan Evans is pitting on the end of lap 7. He's currently 11th. Stocky's out of the pits at 9th now. He's got a few cars in front of him. Stuart Finn's gone wide. We've got we've got Stocky making a move. I think one of the cars has had a bit of damage. There's a bit of wing on the floor. We'll have to find out if there was any damage caused there. We're on board with Mornay 77, currently 4th, but the pit stops will even out and he could move down the order. But he seems to be quite competitive at the moment. It's early on in the Grand Prix. It's heavy with fuel. As Bartman is just gone off there. More Bartman, yeah. Bartman, this is not like he's gone off. He's currently, his tyres must have gone. He should have pitted maybe a lap before Stocky or on the lap Stocky pitted. That's a shame, Bartman. He's lost his wing as well. What a horrible thing to happen, because he looked like he had some good pace about him, but that's ruined his race as Over the King takes over 4th position from Bartman. On board with Front Row Racing DP, he's currently 2nd at the moment. He's 10.3 seconds away from Kev 187, his teammate. He's going to be want to put some decent laps in at the moment. He has a little bit of an oversteery moment there coming out of the corner. Sergeant Hitman currently in 11th. He's coming down the start-finish straight. He's going to want to start putting in some decent lap times now. So he's currently 46 seconds behind Kev 187. He's gone into 9th after going through some cars that are in the pits. A little lock up into turn 1. He's gone wide. Back on board with Stocky. He's currently 5th. He's going past the Ferrari of Dave de Harp. A nice move there before the chicane. Nice to get it done early. David Hart takes a little too much curb, may have unsettled his car. He's going to try and get back on the rear of Stocky's Mercedes, but once the Mercedes goes past you, it's hard to get past them. They're a dominant team. Showed it last season, this season they're showing it, especially in the hands of someone like Stocky, a capable driver. And we'll go on board with Dave de Hart, as he looks like he's got a few cars behind him, and he's going to want to keep them behind him. But I think his tyres may have gone. Got Gio Finn trying to make a move into turn 13. Dave's kept it nice and tidy, which is going to help him. They're going in, Dave Harp's going to go pitting. He's going to lose position now. He's 6th at the moment. He's going to go down to 7th. Going to go on board with Front Row Racing GP. He's right behind Gio Finn. He's probably going to have DRS. He's going down the start-finish straight. It's probably about 2-3 tenths away from Gio Finn. He's going to keep it behind Gio Finn. Not going to make a move turn 1. He's going to keep it nice and close, keep it nice and tight. If he can do that, gets DRS second time around. It's only a short DRS stint now, and he can't get past. He's going to have to keep it nice and tidy. Make sure and keep within the probably I'd say keep him within the second of the car in front, and he's got a chance. The turn up to turn 14, gets the activation, is on his way then. On board with over the kink in the Lotus. His teammate, a regular teammate, is away at the moment with a house move, so we have a reserve stepping in for Jamie James, as noted before. Dom's having a wild ride out there at the moment. It's a bit like a rallycross at the moment with a Formula 1 car, and it looks like he's driving a little bit angry. Maybe some of the incidents that put him down the field early on in the race are starting to bug Dom, because we know he's a competitive driver and always wants to be at the front. But look how quickly Stocky's gained so much time on him as Dom pits now, because his tyres just look like they're shot. And we're going board. Stocky currently going in 6th gear, goes across the line. He's 3rd at the moment, lead at the start, lap 11. 2nd at the moment, sorry, as Front Racing DP must be in the pits. So Stocky is actually looking good here for 2nd place. It's going to be a big ask if we can get close to the Williams, but there is a Williams. It must be Kev 187, probably about 2.5 seconds up the road. But once Kev 187 gets them tyres heated up, he'll start pulling away, because he's been fast in the practice sessions, his own personal private practice sessions as well, and he's going to want to put that out on track. So we enjoy being on board with Kev 187. Nice camera view here as we go through the chicane, keeping it nice and under control. Kev 187 is showing how he should drive this track. Hopefully the World Series drivers and the Fridays drivers will be taking note of this. A masterclass from one of the title contenders. Going on board with Dave de Harp. He's currently in 10th at the moment in the Scuderia Ferrari. He's going to want to be starting to challenge the rest of the field at the moment. But he may be thinking maybe 2-3 stops. If he goes 2 stops, he's going to have to be careful on the tyres, as tyre wear around this track is extremely bad, as many drivers will confirm. Sergeant Hitman currently in 7th, goes very wide. He's coming down to turn 12 behind over the kink in the Lotus. Now Sergeant Hitman's gone, well, let's just be honest, he's going over the track limits. He's exceeding them quite a lot at the moment. I know it's tempting to chase down a car in front of you, but you're going to have to keep it nice and tidy, because you will feel the wrath of race stewards if you kept being caught going over the track limits. He's going to try and make a move on over the king. It's going to be a lunge. Oh, there's contact. That wasn't pretty. That wasn't smart. Sergeant Hitman was way too far behind to make that lunge. Way too far. That was, sorry, but that was silly. That was a silly move by Sergeant Hitman. Over the king. Would have been a little bit worried there if he'd have got taken out by Sergeant Hitman, but he's on his way. On board with Front Racing DP, chasing down Gio Finn, who's in 3rd place. Now we know Dave has recently pitted. He's going to want to start attacking Duo Finn. They're going down to the corner of turn 12. Now Dave's going to have to play smart. Keep it behind Duo Finn. If I was you, just keep it nice and tidy. Go into turn 13, come out of turn 13 nice and tight to Duo Finn. Get the DRS. But look at Mornay, 77. He's trying to stay within the fight as well. Now Front Racing DP has DRS. He's right behind Duo Finn. He's going to probably make a move and get DRS and extend that lead going into turn 1. And Mornay 77 will be slipstreaming Duo Finn at the moment, so Duo Finn's going to have to worry about Front Racing DP and Mornay. Front Racing DP, a little bit of a slight lock-up, would say. He's in 3rd place. A nice move, kept it nice and controlled. Duo Finn is trying to take the fight back to Dave, but Dave's having none of it. Keeping it nice and controlled. He had DRS as well. And Mornay 77's trying to have a little sneaky look in at Duo Finn, but he's going to have to probably wait until the DRS activation. Stocky, and he looks like he's gained a bit of time on Kev, which is going to be interesting because I thought it was going to rain. It looks like the clouds are clearing and it's coming a bit brighter, so it could be a dry race, as Stocky is trying to take the fight to Kev, and this would be a statement of intent if Stocky could get a win today over Front Racing DP and Kev 187. The Williams pair, like I say, dominant most of the season, and if Stocky can upset that, it will send a few shockwaves through to let people notice him a little bit more. As I say, he's a decent driver on the rise. On board with Bartman 2112 behind Sergeant Hitman. He's right close. He's probably getting a little bit impatient. He's see the track limits there. He's got to keep it nice and tidy. He's gone on the grass. This is not right. He's got to keep it tidy. He's very aggressively attacking. I thought it was going to be contact. Sergeant Hitman's gone a little bit wide. Bartman's going to have to keep it a little bit more under control. A bit too aggressive there, because as we've seen, there can be spins when people try and lunge. On board with Dave the Harp in the Scuderia Ferrari. He's in 7th place, but he's got so many cars that are after him. He's going to have to keep it nice and controlled. He's going to have to keep his tyre life, maybe last a lap or two longer, try and eke out this stint, but he's got a fight on his hands to keep 7th. It looks like a lot of cars are on his back. On board with Kev 187, the leader, with Stocky chasing him down, but he's on lap 14. Just trying to keep a controlled race, which is Kev's forte. Keeps it nice and controlled. Tries to put a good example out there for the rest of the drivers. It looks like he's gained a bit of time on Stocky, which is going to please him. As we go look down the rest of the field, we're on board with 11th place Front Racing GP behind Sergeant Hitman and Front Racing GP have a little bit of a lock-up. Coming out of turn 6 and 7, and into turn 8, Front Racing GP's took a bit too much curb there. He's right behind Sergeant Hitman. Sergeant Hitman's gone wide once again, as Front Racing GP's going to want to try and take advantage of this. This is going to be either a good move by Front Racing GP, or Sergeant Hitman is going to be over defensive and there could be a bit of contact. Front Racing GP looks like he's playing the smart game here. He's going to try and keep it behind Sergeant Hitman, as he has a bit of an oversteering moment coming out into turn 13, sorry. He's going to try and get the DRS activation. He's going to have DRS now. He's going to have it down a pit straight, as Sergeant Hitman goes ridiculously wide there. That is silly wide. He's going to have to keep it more under control. I know you've got a car after you, but come on, keep it in with the track. As Front Racing GP couldn't get the move done. He's going to have DRS now. He's going to be behind Sergeant Hitman. He's too far back. Let's go and check the rest of the field. We'll go on board with Bartman 2112. He's in 8th at the moment. He's trying to chase down the Ferrari of Dave the Harp. Let's see if we can get on board with Over the King coming out of turn 7. He's in the Lotus. He's had some quite decent displays recently, but he's also had a few dramas in some races. He's going to have to try and sort that out, because me personally, I still think this is one of the Williams Drivers' Championship. But if another driver can step up, get some good performances in, you never know, for next season, we could have a decent game. He's coming out of turn 13, keeping it nice and tidy. He's going to approach turn 14, keep it nice, keep it smooth. hit the throttle, get a nice burst of power. On board with Mornay, 77, 4th place in the McLaren Honda. Now this is a decent drive. Brilliant actually at the moment. If he can keep this position, if he's got a good race strategy, good setup on him, he could be in for some decent points, and I'm sure that'll be very pleasing for him. On board with Stocky, he's currently 3.5 seconds away from Kev 187. Now, it could be that Kev's pulling away, or it could be the fact that Stocky is just trying to extend the tyre life, and that is a good play. If he can do that, he's going to be in contention. We'll go look for Kev 187's teammate and championship leader, Front Row Racing DP. He's in third at the moment. He's a massive 13 seconds away from his teammate and leader, Kev. Now, I'm sure there must have been an incident, or Dave had maybe a little problem early on in the race, because no way you go from second down to 4th and then 5th, and then you're currently in third, 13 seconds away from your teammate. So maybe that'd be interesting to see what everyone has to say after the race, because a lot of cars were out of position from their qualifying position as we ride on board with the Red Bull of Sergeant Hitman 91. It's coming into turn 13, keeping it nice and controlled. Tyres must be still in good life. Trying at Bartman's pitting from 8th. Drew Finn's pitting. Looks like the round of pit stops are starting. David Harp in 6th, taking advantage of some of the cars are in the pits. Looks like it could be a 3-stopper, could even be a 4-stopper, depending on how aggressive some of these cars are. Stocky, oh, Stocky's had contact. Oh, that's shocking. Stocky must be kicking himself there. What a bad mistake to make. He's left. He's retired. Stocky retired. What a bad time. You know, I couldn't praise him enough. A good drive so far, and a accident there, and that's put him out of the race, and that would promote Front Row Racing DP from 3rd into 2nd. Now he's right behind his championship contender and his teammate Kev 187. And Over the King benefits from Stocky's retirement as he's moved from 5th to 4th, and he's only 30. Well, I say only, he's 31 seconds away from 1st place. Now all he has to do is probably aim for 3rd place. That would be my idea. He's a great driver, he's got some pace about him. He's going to have to try and get that 3rd position, keep within the front two of the Williams. On board with Duo Finn, 50 seconds away from 1st place in the Red Bull, and he's going to gain a few positions there. I think a few cars are going into the pit. He's got some speed about him, this driver. He's a decent driver, had some solid performances last season, and he's going to go from 9th to 7th. Now he's going to have to just put in some steady laps, not take too much life out of the tyres, because it looks like it's going to be for some drivers it's going to be 4 stops, I think. But if you play it safe, play it sensibly, you could get a 3-stop race, and that's going to be the fastest option. Front Row Racing GP is in 5th at the moment. Now that could be from benefiting from people pitting, but he's looking like he's got a bit of speed about him, which is nice. Steve is a decent driver, and I can't speak highly of the bloke. He's always there to wrap an arm around a fellow driver, which is also good, but he's also there to put in a fighting display when he does race. Try to keep it nice and tidy as the car in front of him is going a bit, well, as I say that, Steve takes a bit too much curb there and launches the car. I'll stop I'll stop being nice to drivers, because my commentators like just get backfiring against me. Over the Kink is pitting 3rd position at the moment. Kev 187 is still 1st. We'll go check on his teammate and title rival. Front Racing DP 2nd is 12.7 seconds away from Kev 187. Now, I'm going to say Kev's probably got this race sewn up. I know it's so early in the race to say that, we're just over half distance, but I don't see Kev losing too much ground to Dave at the moment. won't let me go on board with our result, so we'll go on board with Sergeant Hitman again. And he's just crossing the line onto lap 19. He's a minute and 10 seconds away from Kev 187, so he'll be close to being lapped. But it doesn't matter about being lapped, as long as you're in it, you're going to score some points. On board with 5th place over the kink in the Lotus, coming up to turn 6 and 7. The nice chicane, just don't take too much curb, don't unsettle the car because he's got a couple of cars behind him. Now he's got to be wary now, he's got to play smart because he can get 3rd position in the long game. I know he's 5th at the moment, but he can do this if he just plays smart. Dom is a savvy driver when it comes to keeping the pit stops down to the bare minimum what he has to do. On board with Mornay, 77, brilliant. 3rd position at the moment. He's, in my opinion, got over the kink as his rival for that 3rd position, but if he can get a podium in this race, he will be absolutely buzzing, because that is a stunning drive from McLaren Honda. Where can you say McLaren Honda have been 3rd in a race in 2015? And there you go, Mornay, 77 as well, he's doing it. Ron Dennis, there you go, your phone is, mate, give him a bell. On board with Kev 187, who comes up to turn 13. Gonna keep it nice and tidy, not on the throttle too hard. There you go, squirt of the throttle now. Coming into turn 14, positions that very nicely. Try and keep it nice and tidy. Keep the throttle nice. Hit full throttle. Go down, start, finish straight. On to lap 21. Keeping it the distance as much as possible because he doesn't want to let Dave in, because as you've seen, some drivers are going off, some drivers are taking a bit too much curb. The last thing you want to do is think you're safe with a 12-13 second gap to the next car. Be a little bit cocky trying to get fastest lap, as Seb likes to do that in his Red Bull days, get the fastest lap. And if Kev tries that mentality, which I doubt he would do, he's a sensible driver, but if you get too cocky, take a bit too much curb, you can go from 1st to 3rd easily. On board with Sergeant Hitman again, 9th position. Looks like this is his favourite position today. He's keeping it a little bit more tidier, which is nice to see. Want to see as many drivers as possible. Keep it tidy. It's over the kink. As I say, that commentator's cursed again. As I say, he's keeping it tidy. He goes wide as over the kink, sets the fastest lap. He's showing a bit of intent now as Dom to try and get that 3rd position. He's got a car right behind him though. He's going to have to try and be a bit defensive. He's got Front Racing GP. He's actually having a storming drive to be challenging Dom now. Now, he's got to be sensible. They've both got to be sensible. They don't want to fight too much. Don't want to lose too much time to 3rd place, because that's the aim. You want to get on the podium at least when you're in position 4th or 5th. So you don't want to take too much tyre life out, but you don't want to hold each other up, but you want to get higher up the field. So this is what the drivers are going to be contending with. It's a moral dilemma. You either want to score some points or you want to go for the bigger prize, and I know Dom would be wanting to go for the bigger prize. And don't get me wrong, Front Racing GP aka Steve would want the bigger prize, but points are where his heart is. He needs to get some decent points. On board with Kev 187, having a nice relaxing race, shall we say. Not really been challenged, keeping it nice and controlled at the front. Probably going to be extending his tyre life. This is what he probably would have wanted leading into the race, but he wouldn't have probably expected it. Go on board with Dave to harp in the Ferrari at 1 minute 7 seconds. 1 minute 7 seconds is away from Kev 187. He's currently in 8th, and personally I thought Dave would have been a little bit faster. Maybe he's just had a bit of battling through the field. Maybe he's had to make a pit stop too early. It's ruined his strategy. I don't know, but I'm sure Dave will climb the field. Go on board with Bartman 2112. Currently 6th position. Looks like he's chasing down a car. Another McLaren Honda doing a good job. Looks like the Hungary Ring is a good place for McLaren. As we've got Front Racing GP coming out at turn 7, followed closely by Bartman 2112. Bartman looks like he's got more speed than Front Racing GP. Front Racing GP probably has taken a little bit too much tyre life trying to chase Dom down. So he's got to keep it nice and controlled. Probably going to have to be defending in a little while. We'll probably stay with Bartman just to see if he's going to attempt a pass on Front Row Racing GP as we're coming up to turn 13. Looks like he's edging closer to Front Row Racing GP. Front Row Racing GP is losing a lot of time at the moment. Bartman is very, very quick. Coming out of the last turn, turn 14. Coming down start finish straight. Now, don't see no attempt by Bartman till probably halfway through the lap. It depends because he seems like he's got a little bit more pace, probably 3 attempts, 4 attempts probably quicker per sector than Front Row Racing GP, which is why he's reeling Steve in so quickly. I can see probably by the chicane, turn 6 and 7, Bartman be very close to Front Row Racing GP. And as first and second are so far apart, we'll stick with the midfield battle because sometimes the midfield battles are the best battles to watch. As we come up to that chicane, it looks like Bartman's very close, 1-2 attempts away. Now, is he going to keep it close around for the rest of the lap, or is he going to attack Front Row Racing GP? I'd say Front Row Racing GP's tyres are going. As I say that, he's gone off. His tyre life must have gone. Bartman he's going to make the move. He's completed the move nicely. Front Row Racing GP, it looks like he's had a big off there. Tyre life must have gone. He's going to have to pit soon. On board with Over the Kink in the Lotus. Lovely shot from the rear of the car. As you can see, the heat haze coming off the exhaust. He's currently in 4th position, starting lap 24. It looks like he's going to try and start chasing down 3rd position. And hopefully we will have a little bit of excitement come the last portion of the race. Let's check on Front Row Racing DP. He's in 2nd place at the moment. Still 12 seconds, nearly 13 seconds away from 1st place. Now, would I say Dave settled for 2nd? If you're a smart guy like Dave is, yeah, it'd take 2nd. It looks like he had a messy start. But the racer and Dave, no, he wants 1st, and I know that. But Kev is big obstacle to try and get 1st place from as we try and go down the field. On board with Dave de Harp in the Ferrari. He's looking like he's trying to make a move on the Red Bull off Sergeant Hitman. He's right on the back of Sergeant Hitman now. Let's see if they can keep it nice and controlled, keep him in the track limits. Let's put on a decent show, guys. You know, we've got people watching. Let's put on a decent show where you're not extending the track to benefit yourselves, as they both take the chicane very nicely. Not too much curb, no unsettling of the cars, which is what we want to see. Now Dave de Harp is going to try and keep it controlled. He's keeping it nice and controlled. Sergeant Hitman looked like he had a little bit of a messy exit out of that corner. Dave de Harp's approaching him very fast, maybe 3-4 attempts away. He's coming up to turn 12, right behind Sergeant Hitman. Now he's probably going to keep it nice and controlled, keep within a second, get that DRS. Even if you can't get it done into turn 1, you're going to have a second DRS, which is always a nice little treat, especially if you're trying to move up the board from 9th to 8th. That's what Dave de Harp's going to want. And he looks like he's lost a little bit of time. They may not have DRS. No, he has DRS, but he's so far back. He had a messy few corners. Let's go and find Bartman 2112. He's currently 7th at the moment. He's having a decent drive. He's shown some bursts of pace, but I don't know. Maybe he's going to be a bit disappointed. He's chasing down 6th place Stuart Finn in the Red Bull, coming up to turn 6 and 7. Let's see if he can keep it nice and controlled through the chicanes. Yeah, he kept it well controlled. A little bit more, too much curb on the exit of the chicane, but yeah, brilliantly controlled there. As Morna in the McLaren Honda, looks like he's coming closer and closer to the Lotus of Over the Kink. Oh, it looked like he had a late call there for the pits. Over the Kink will be thankful for that, as he doesn't have to take a fight into turn 1. He's currently in 3rd position. He's 40 seconds away from 1st place. Sounds like a huge amount of time. Well, simply it is. But he could have had a few incidents in the early portion of the race, because he had some great pace in qualifying, and it doesn't magically disappear when you enter the race. But 3rd place is on the podium, a decent result if he can keep it going. Got on board with front row racing DP, who's from last time we rode on board, he's gained 1.7 seconds on Kev. Now is this Kev taking it nice and slowly, or is it Dave putting the hammer down? As we can borrow now let's push on. He's 10.995 seconds away from Kev 187, and amazingly it's jumped up to 12.9. So either Kev's had a storming last sector of the lap, or Dave has had a shocking time. Probably more likely Kev's had a good lap, because Kev can control the race. He can slow down, control tyre wear, and when he needs to push, he can push. A bit Hamilton-esque, if you say. He will just control the pace. People think in races where Hamilton is slow that he's struggling or he's got a problem. Well, he's not. He's controlling the race. This is what Kev's doing as well. And that's a sign of a good driver who knows when to control the race. When you're in first place, it's not always about going faster and faster and faster. So it's just about control. Make sure your tyres are going to last. Make sure you don't have to make that extra stop, because if you make that extra stop, you never know what's going to happen. On board with Bartman 2112 in the McLaren Honda, currently 6, going around the last corner. He's keeping it nice control. He's going to have a decent points haul here, and that's always welcome at McLaren Honda. Points means prizes. Duo Finn is in 4th place. Looks like he's having a little battle with Mornay. Mornay's trying to take a move on the outside, but it's a difficult corner to get a move done. Duo Finn is going to keep it nice and it's because I don't know. It looks like Mornay's got Duo's numbers. Duo goes a little bit wide. Mornay looks like he's lining them up, but we're going to come up to the chicane. There's no way a move will be done, as Kev 187 sets a 1 minute 22 lap time, which is quite a good lap time. Oh, Duo Finn misses chicane, done the right thing, let Mornay through. Maybe was that pressure getting to Duo Finn? Maybe took the approach to the chicane a bit too fast. On board with Over the King, 41 seconds away from first place, coming up to turn 13. Keep it nice and cool, Dom. That's it. On the throttle now, and you should be away. Looks like a decent drive. Well, maybe a semi-recovery drive from Dom after the bad start to the start of the race. Let's go on board with Front Row Racing GP in the Sahara, 4th India, coming into turn 14 at the moment. He is 7th position at the moment. Looks like he's on his own at the moment on track. He's going to want to pump some lap times in to try and catch 6th position. He's got a hunger to get some more positions. Guaranteed he's going to want to be 5th at least. On board with Mornay 77's got Duo Finn right behind him after Duo's mistake at the chicane. Now Duo's going to have to try and keep it nice and well, control is the best word for it, but Duo Finn's got to also keep the balance right. Don't go too fast to the corners. Just because you see a car in front of you, it's like a red rag to a bull, you want to attack as they come to the chicane where Duo had the mistake earlier. He's catching Mornay bit by bit, he's reeling them in, but there's another car behind. This is going to be a three-way fight at the moment, as Mornay's got a lot to deal with at the moment. Just make sure he can just concentrate on his job. The car's behind you, his car's behind you. Just wait for that battle to come to you. Don't prepare too early for that battle, because it could cost you your concentration as Mornay goes a little bit wide. Duo Finn is near and nearer as he's coming out of turn 13. Duo Finn must be 3 tenths away, and he's going to have DRS as we have another McLaren Honda. Now start finish straight. I'm putting my money on a three-way battle into turn 1. Look at Mornay, he's really taking the defensive line already as he has Duo Finn behind him. He's kept position in going into turn 1, but can that same be said going into turn 2? Yeah, that's shocking. Yeah, Duo Finn didn't even attempt. Maybe his tyres are going, but Bartman looks like he's right behind as well as we're going on board with Front Row Racing. DP is now 14 seconds away. It looks like second place will be for Dave today, which is no shame at all. Second place, I'd take second place if someone offered me that. Like I say, Williams dominant again. Another 1-2. top of the constructors, and Kev 187 will have taken a huge chunk out of Front Racing DP's lead in the Drivers' Championship, which is also a brilliant prize. Sergeant Hitman coming into turns 6 and 7 of the chicane. Let's keep it nice and tidy, as he does. A little bit of an oversteer mid-chicane, but keeps it nice and controlled. Bartman 2112 in a McLaren Honda got past the Red Bull, and now he's going to be chasing down his teammate. Now what will happen? If he's the faster McLaren, will his teammate recognise that? I doubt it. He's going to be fighting him. This could be a good battle between the McLarens, as Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button like to battle as well. When you have a below par car, shall we say, in real F1, they battle. These two have equal performance, and they will be battling. There's no friendly teammate rules on the Hungary Ring today. Kev 187, 1 minute 22.284, stunning lap time, lap 30, and Bartman is trying to chase down his teammate. Going into turn 6, turn 7, Sergeant Hitman has retired from the session. Now, could that be issues with the car? Could it just be the driver's just had enough? We won't know until after the race. It's a shame, because he could have got at least a point or two there. Go on board with Front Row Racing P in 7th position, only a minute behind, which it doesn't matter because he's 7th. He's going to score some decent points here, and he's closing down on Duo Finn in the Red Bull, and that is also a good sign that he's ready to attack, as he's going to have DRS anytime soon. It comes up to turn 14. Oh, it's going to be nip and tuck if he made the DRS activation zone in time. Start finish straight, start at lap 31 for Front Row Racing GP, and he's going to try and chase down Joe Finn. I don't think he had DRS there. A little bit lock up into turn 1. Joe Finn looks like he's not got the pace of Front Row Racing GP. Could this be tyre wear, or could it be just a simple fact of setup issues? Front Row Racing GP is right behind. Now, will he do what most drivers are doing, is keep right behind and wait till the DRS activation zone? Best possible way to overtake on this track, in my opinion, as Bartman 212 is chasing him down. Mornay 77, both McLaren Honda cars coming out turn 7. Mornay 77 has a little bit of a messy exit out of the chicane. Looks like Bartman is he's fast and he's furious, as he shows there as he extends the track a tiny bit to his advantage. He's closing down on Mornay 77. It looks like a good battle is going to ensue between the McLaren Hondas, and Mornay's not giving anything away here, but he had a bit of a messy exit as they go into turn 13, nearly side by side. Out of turn 13, coming up to turn 14, DRS activation zone. Bartman's going to have DRS, coming down start finish straight. Looks like he's faster than Mornay 77. He's going to have DRS, he's got DRS activated on start of lap 32. He's going to have a little, maybe a little lunge going into turn 1. No, yes he is. Oh, he was in two minds there whether to lunge or not. He kept it. Well, let's just say he did not lunge, which was the best option, because we've seen a few instances of drivers lunging when you shouldn't do. And maybe that little hesitation whether to make the move or not cost him there, because Mornay 77 is still in front, and Bartman is definitely the fastest McLaren Honda, as Mornay 77 will be finding out now. He's under pressure, a lot of pressure. Now let's make sure he can keep it all into check when he goes into the chicane. Chicane is hard when you've got a car right bearing down on you. Just keep it nice and tidy, both ears. They've kept it nice and tidy, but Bartman is right behind him. They're nearly wing to the rear of Mornay's car. There's 2 temps in it. Mornay 77 is doing a decent job of defensive driving, but still attacking as well, because he's not slowed down at all. Bartman is fierce on the track. They're keeping it nice and tidy now. We're coming up to the last section of the track. Will Bartman be sensible here? Keep it behind Mornay 77. Just keep it nice. 2 temps behind. Get the DRS. Start finish. Do the job. Mornay 77 had a slide out of turn 13 going into turn 14, both keeping it nice and tidy. Mornay's just a little bit wide on the exit. Bartman is going to have DRS. Now, will Bartman make amends from his previous lap try at lunging. He's gone for the lunge. Mornay's had a lock up. Bartman had to be heavy on the brakes there to avoid contact with his teammate, because you don't want Ron Dennis giving you a mouthful after the race. Now, will Bartman be having a word with Mornay saying, you know what, I was faster than you, we were teammates, why didn't you let me pass? Well, Mornay doesn't have to let him pass. You know, this is a race. The team's not going to win the constructors. You know, go for it, fight. Mornay is doing some brilliant defensive driving here. The McLaren Hondas are putting on a good show. It looked like there could have been a little bit of contact, or maybe Bartman just braking a bit too hard just to avoid contact, which, if it was good driving by Bartman. Mornay is under the cosh here as he cuts the first part of the chicane. So much curb, it slowed him down massively as Bartman is right on his tail. Mornay again extending the track. He's very under pressure as Bartman tips the wheel onto the grass. And we're going out of turn 11, Mornay a little bit wide. Up to turn 12. Again, Bartman is going to be in a position in about a turn and a bit to get DRS activation. Now, is it going to be third time lucky, or is Bartman still going to be frustrated by Mornay? They're very close again. 2-3 attempts in it. Bartman is going to have to decide now, is it worth the risk of just going for the lunge and just putting it all on the line against his teammate? It is for fourth position. Yeah, it doesn't get you a cup at the end of the race, doesn't get you praise, but between teammates you want to beat each other. And it looks like Bartman's trying to keep it nice and tidy. He had a bit of a lock up into turn 1. There's 2-3 attempts in it. Bartman's got DRS again into turn 2. Mornay still in front. Now Bartman will be getting frustrated. If that was Bartman, I would be super frustrated, because Mornay has taken a bit too much curb, gone a bit wide on some corners, where Bartman's trying to keep it nice and tidy, keep it within the track. Now Bartman, what are you going to do? Are you going to make the pass? If you're going to do it, it's going to be a crazy to do it in a chicane. But some drivers are crazy. They're keeping it nice and controlled again, and a good little chicane there from both drivers. Now Bartman, what are you going to do? You're going to stay out of the way so you don't unsettle the car, stop slipstreaming through slow corners. You want to have as much downforce as you want, but you don't want to be so close where you lose downforce. Now Bartman looks like he's getting a bit frustrated. Is he going to make the move now? I wouldn't. I'd stay behind Mornay. You want to get DRS, because if Mornay gets the DRS, you're done. He's made a move, going into turn 13, sorry. Mornay's taken the tighter line. Bartman has got past, he's now in 4th, but Mornay is taking the tighter line into turn 14, and he's going to have DRS, which I thought Bartman should have done. He should have waited. Mornay's 5th, Bartman is 4th, there's a 10th in it. Mornay is 4th now, he's got DRS. Bartman's gone down to 5th. I think that was a bad mistake by Bartman. He should have waited the corner on a bit. He wouldn't have hurt, you'd have had DRS. Now he's back in 5th, now he's 4th. There's contact between teammates. Mornay's crashed. That is silly. A great battle there. As Kev 187 wins, I didn't catch it. Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous there. Teammates, yeah, it's good fighting, but when someone crashes at your team for a battle, it's just outrageous. As we have first place, Kev 187, dominant drive, front racing DP, a mini recovery drive into 2nd, and Dom got 3rd. Brilliant drive from Dom. So I'm just in shock by Bartman and Mornay. Ridiculous to have put one of your teammates out. You know, leave a bit of space for God's sake. You've battled that hard. Bartman comes around in 4th. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, Ron Dennis after will be kicking off, and I tell you what, they'll probably be kicking off with each other as well, because it was just mental. Front racing GP, what a drive! 5th place, brilliant drive there from Steve. Joe Finn 6th place. Of course they're making up for Mornay's accident. They're benefiting from it, but decent drive there as Mornay comes round in the damaged Honda, 7th position. He could have had 5th. You know, a lot of questions will be asked after this race. And now we have the front row racing World Championship round 10 from the Hungary Ring. We have Kev 187 winning a dominant style. Front racing DP, a nice drive to get 2nd, and over the kink in 3rd in the Lotus. Nice little points haul for the Lotus, but there you go. Williams again, very dominant, brilliant. As the drivers celebrate there will be questions asked. A lot of stuff happened. And let's run through the race results before any stewarding decisions. Kev 187 first, From Racing DP second, over the Kink in third, Bartman 2112 fourth, From Racing GP fifth, Duo Finn sixth, Mornay 77 seventh, Dave the Harp eighth, Ariza ninth. And the rest of the drivers did not finish. A good race there, some shocking moments, but like I say, they will be dissected, discussed and resolved in time before the next race. In a moment I will be bringing the drivers from the podium in for a little talk about how their race went and how they thought the race went. So please stay tuned for the top three of Kev 187, From Racing DP and Over the King's views on their race and what they thought about the whole situation. As we await the drivers coming in, here we have second place From Racing DP from Williams. You alright, Dave? As we await the other two drivers for the drivers' podium interviews.
Interesting one, that. Steve said he was last after the first lap.
Really? Bloody hell.
Yeah, she's done well.
To come through then.
Yeah.
Do we have all drivers in?
I think we're still waiting for Dom.
He's left. Oh, he's still online. Yeah, it should be. Always allow, yeah. Tom's not in the lobby anymore.
Yeah, you don't need to be.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Give it another 30 seconds and then we'll just start.
Dave the Arp got taken out by Dadheads.
Well, at least it wasn't Dan and James this week.
The McLaren pair come together. Lap 34.
Did they?
Yep, took each other out.
Yeah.
Wow, Mornay come off worst.
I was thinking he was up in third place at one point.
Oh shit, yeah, I seen him going around the final corner really wide as if he had no front wing.
He didn't.
And he was down in seventh place as well, yeah.
Gonna start in another 10 seconds and we'll start the interviews.
Rian said Sergeant Hitman was ETLing his life out there. Jeez man, no respect for the rules or the drivers.
Well, Sergeant Hitman didn't make it to the end of the race.
Yeah.
Right, we'll just start the interview. So we're here with the Williams pair of Kev 187 and From Racing DP. We'll go straight to Kev 187 on a, well, looked like a dominant race display. How did your race go?
Yeah, it was nice. Helped a little by Dave. I think he had a bit of an incident, so took the pressure off a little bit, but I think we had the pace on the rest of them, especially in the middle and final sector. We think it was because they were running low aeros and we weren't, so the race pace was good. I would have liked to have got into the 19s round here, but we didn't. Me and Dave didn't have much practice time, to be honest. So, but yeah, overall happy with the Wednesday evening.
Did you feel that you were in total control after you noticed that your teammate had lost some ground?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say total control. It's the back end's a bit slidey around there. You can lose it round bloody turn one quite easily, actually, on the exit curve there. So you've got to be careful. You've always got to have your wits about you, and especially this track is one of the most. I don't know how to word it. You make a lot of decisions over a lap, anyway. So you've always got to be concentrating.
Are you happy that you've gained some ground on Dave in the Drivers' Championship after last week? Of
course. Yeah, definitely. Had a couple of bad races of late. Bloody, you know. Yeah,
well, you're a decent driver, you always make it back up. Alright, go over to Front Row Racing DP from Williams, Kev187's teammate. So, would you like to explain how your race started and how it went, Dave?
It started really well into turn one and heading down to turn two. Like, me and Kev were like, are you still on my side? Yeah, okay. And I think we got to turn three and I had to do a little lift to make sure I didn't run wide and hit him, and then I just got swamped. At that point I'm thinking, oh great. And then over the next couple of laps I was able to quite comfortably keep up with Bartman and Stocky, and I noticed they were braking very early, so that was like, okay, maybe they're on low aeros, and I went to put my car in a position that really I shouldn't have done, and obviously a bit of contact, I ended up spinning, and at that point I'm like, oh great. I knew at that point I'm probably, well, there's no chance of catching Kev. But from there, I mean, I was catching Bartman and Stocky back up, so I was fairly comfortably thinking, yeah, I can still get second place here. So it was a shame to see Stocky not make it to the end, and I think Bartman must have had another puncture, a bit of a puncture king this season, because he seemed to go very wide and very slow at one point, which gave me the second place, and then the strategy just worked for us on that race. So yeah, very pleased with second place there.
Did you ever think you were last portion of the race, you're like 12 seconds away from Kev? Did you ever think you could make that gap?
Yes and no. I told him how to go about going for fastest lap, and I knew he'd go for it, and part of me was thinking, go and get the fastest lap, but while you're trying you might spin out. So but to be fair, at the same time I was doing the same thing, so I was kind of like, okay, we could try going for fastest lap, just don't spin. And then I think about 3-4 laps to the end it was like, you know what, I'm not going to gain on him. I'm okay from behind. We'll just turn the engine down and take it easy to the line.
Right, cheers for that from Racing DP, and we're joined by Over the Kink, third place in the Lotus. So, would you like to explain how your race started and how it went?
I actually just put by to say I'm not doing the interviews this weekend, so I wish you all a good night. See you next week.
Okay, well that was interesting, maybe from a driver under pressure.
Someone's not happy, are they?
Alright, we'll go back to the Williams pair. Okay, so we have...
It's like bloody Mark Webber at Malaysia.
Yeah. Alright, we have Front Row Racing DP and Kev187 still in the room who are willing to do interviews. You're looking forward to Spa next week. How are you going to approach it, knowing you're so close leading the drivers and the constructors?
Yeah, same as Dave. Flat out as usual. There's going to be no let-ups.
Do you feel any pressure, Kev, from Dom in the Lotus in the race? Do you feel that he can influence the Drivers' Championship?
He can influence, yeah, but I don't think he'll influence the championship.
So you still think that's a straight fight between you and Dave?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah, definitely.
do you agree with that, Dave?
I don't know, perhaps, yeah. I mean, Dom can influence the races, definitely, because, I mean, like, today he qualified third, and was in a good position to attack into the first couple of corners. I think there was contact with someone, so that kind of scuppered his chances to sort of really attack it. With the championship, though, I mean, it's one of those where the points, there is a big gap between the points, and it'll be interesting to see how it pans out, because there's tracks coming up. I mean, I know Kev's fast at Spa, but then I won Spa last season. Then after that, I think it's Monza, so there's some really fast tracks coming up, and then we're into some of the tracks that neither of us are particularly keen on, like Circuit of the Americas and Singapore. So it'll be very interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'd like to congratulate you both, especially Kev for winning, and Dave, a nice recovery drive there as well. And I look forward to seeing you both in Spa.
Well done, Dave. Cheers for the commentary, Adam.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, cheers, Adam. Thank you very much. And well done, Kev. Great win there.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll see you all later.
See ya.
Right. See you in a bit. Adam, I'll jump out of the party and then I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay.
See you in a bit, guys.
See ya. Okay, that was the top two drivers giving their views on their race, and also we were joined by Over the King, who wished to make no comment on his race this evening, which could be a sign of frustration for the simple fact he could have had a race that he wasn't happy with. We won't know. We'll probably find out in the coming days, but I still would like to thank everyone for watching tonight. It was an eventful race with a few issues with teammate battles, and also a few drivers showing some potential out there. But from me, Front Row Racing NW, this was Front Row Racing's World Championship Round 10 event from the Hungary Ring. And I'd like to make sure you're aware that tomorrow, 7:30, the stream will start for Front Row Racing World Series live from the Hungary Ring, and the Friday's Cup as well from the Hungary Ring on Friday at 7:30, and we look forward to Spa next week at 7:30 on Wednesday. Also, we have a Front Row Racing Project Cars League that will be starting this week. Please message the page on Facebook for any information, and I would like to say good night and enjoy the rest of your week. See you later.